Hello, folks. Welcome. Today, as usual, I'm going to read to you the last 7 daily inspirations, and then you guys can choose from one of the titles, and we can start from there. Okay, the December 2nd daily inspirational message. Trust reduces guilt and increases peace. December 3rd, reducing self-judgment. December 4th, are your thoughts and beliefs supporting you? December 5th, freedom through forgiveness. December 6th, gratitude as a symbol of the Christmas season. December 7th, valuing free will over our past programming. And December 8th, turning everyday moments into blessings. Any of those do it for you guys?
Every moment into blessings.
Okay. That's the December 8th daily inspirational message. All right, December 8th daily inspirational message, turning everyday moments into blessings, the condensed version. It's 2 paragraphs long, and here I go. Paragraph 1. What if each day we made a conscious effort to spend a few moments offering a silent blessing to this world? Wouldn't the gentle light of grace and love begin to touch and uplift all those we come across? Being all one, wouldn't we also feel blessed as we look upon a healed and happy world? Wouldn't walking in this awake state of mind throughout the day bring us the desire to offer our gratitude to God and all of His children? Each and every moment offers us this possibility. We can indeed begin building a heaven on earth. You need not concern yourself with what to say or do, for if you simply ask, God will gladly direct you. Love will direct you on how to help those who are lost find their way back home to conscious alignment with the divine in them and being the blessing that they were created by God to be. Paragraph 2. Today, let us become miracle workers. We can do so by turning moments of unconsciousness into opportunities to align with and reflect our all-loving source and nature. When we do this, we end up blessing all those we think of, see, and meet. Now, if we become judgmental, angry, resentful, jealous, or hateful, we know this is simply showing us that we're not in alignment with the divine. Today, let us turn these moments of unconsciousness into blessings. When unconsciousness insists upon judgment or anger, we will instead respond with forgiveness and peace. When the unconscious state demands jealousy or hate, we will decline and offer love and compassion. By doing so, we awaken the truth within us and help show others how each moment, when properly perceived, can become a blessing. All right. So the title of this daily inspiration is Turning Everyday Moments into Blessings. Okay, so the idea is for this daily inspiration is to wake up, right? God willing, we'll wake up. And once we wake up, we make a conscious decision to set our goal for the day. Okay. And we're going to say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to try to become more conscious during each interaction during each interaction I have with a brother or sister. Okay, how do you become more conscious? First, you have to remember that you are love, right? That's your true nature. So when you're being loved or in any of love's expressions, you're conscious, okay? When you're not being loved or doing the opposite of offering unloving thoughts, then you're not really conscious. You're unconscious. It's the ego who's thinking for you. So if the ego's thinking for you, then you are not in control. The ego's in control, okay? So you're unconscious. But here we're trying to be proactive instead of reactive. So we go into every interaction with a goal already set. So the goal before any interaction today is going to be, okay, before I meet my brother or sister, I'm going to remind myself that my goal is to become a blessing in this interaction. And so I go into the interaction with my goal already set to become a blessing. Now, how do I become a blessing? By aligning with the love that I am. And what expression of love do I offer in that moment? Whatever expression that moment is requesting. And so let's say my brother or sister is in judgment or is in feeling resentful or frustrated at somebody else. Okay, so what's my function in that moment? My function in that moment is to be a light to them. Maybe I can offer them a way to understand forgiveness better, or mercy better, or grace better. Okay, so in that moment, the blessing that I can become is the expression of love that the interaction itself is inviting me to offer. Okay, and so that's how we become conscious in every interaction and every moment. You just listen, non-judgmentally, without judgment, just listen. What expression of love is the moment or the interaction requesting from me? Okay, if my brother or sister is judging the situation or their brothers or sisters, then maybe my job in that situation is to offer them a way to forgiveness, to compassion, to mercy, and grace. If they're fearful or anxious or doubtful or worried, maybe my job in that interaction, how I become a blessing, is to offer them the understanding that if they trust God more, they will have less anxiousness and fear and doubt. And so in that moment, that's how I become a blessing. And so the idea is that simply be conscious within the moment, because the daily inspiration is turning everyday moments into blessings. Okay, so you keep on asking yourself, how can I turn this moment into a blessing? What does God need me? What expression of love does God need me to be right now? And then simply be that. And you do that over and over again throughout the day. And when that becomes more natural and normal to react in that manner, asking yourself, okay, what expression of love can I be now? And be that expression, then your response to any interaction becomes more of an alignment with source. Simply, you hear what expression of love your brothers and sisters are asking for, and then you're that. And then by doing that, you feel fulfilled. And why do you feel fulfilled? Because you're doing what God created you to do and be in that moment. That's why you feel fulfilled when you are acting from a place of love. If you're acting from a place of not love, then you're never going to feel fulfilled, because you're not doing what God created you to do. But you do not want to punish yourself when you're being judgmental, angry, resentful, jealous, hateful. You don't want to punish yourself for that. You simply want to practice recognizing, okay, I am somewhere right now because I'm expressing judgment, anger, resentment, jealous, hate, shame, guilt. I'm somewhere right now within my heart and mind where I do not belong. Let me simply recognize that and go from the unconscious state to the conscious state, from fear to love, from adding more darkness to the world to being a light in the world. All right. Any comments or questions in regards to that?
So,
I can say,
what is the main impediment that we face when making this our second nature? Why can't we make this our second nature? Why is it so hard?
Because we've been programmed for the last number of decades that we've been on the planet to react through the ego's. The Course of Miracles says the ego answers first and loudest, because that's how we've been programmed.
By who?
By our parents, by society, by people who were doing the best they could, but they didn't have the knowledge or the peace of mind to guide us in the proper direction towards peace. And so anybody in your life who showed you some sort of judgment of self or others, or anger, or resentment, or jealous, or hateful, any of those individuals, they led you in the quote unquote wrong direction, but it wasn't because they weren't. It was simply because they were programmed that way, and so they simply taught you what they were taught, and that's why you have to have compassion for those who are lost and in the darkness. Okay, and so when you're taught this way by let's say unenlightened people or people who are bought into the ego's duality as real, it's judgment-centric, fear-based mindset and tools, the ego's tools, as real, as useful, then that's simply what they were taught. And so you were taught what they were taught. Okay. And so now, because you were taught what they were taught, what you were taught is now your natural response. In quotes, your natural response, your first response. But it's not because it's your true first response. Your true first response is always love. Okay. And so if you're not having a loving response, then it's not the truth in you who's reacting to the situation. It's your past programming. Okay. And so that's what happens.
So is there any way by which we could really activate the divine inside of us so this becomes like a second nature without thinking about it?
Yes. Very simply, before every interaction, make the conscious decision to make forgiveness, compassion, mercy, and grace your constant companions and responses to each and every person and situation.
So basically, we have to be God.
We have to be God. Well, yeah, I mean, we can try to be like God. And that's what we were created to be, like Source, like love, like God. Yes. So we will only feel fulfilled, truly fulfilled, if we are being who we were created by God to be, which is love. And so yes, so practice instead of going into an interaction reactively, just responding to whatever's going on. You respond. If something happens, you respond. Something happens, you respond. Instead of doing that, go into the interaction with your companions, hand in hand. I'm hand in hand with compassion, and I'm hand in hand with forgiveness. And I walk into the interaction with my two partners. And then this is what I offer to my brothers and sisters whenever the ego says judge, or whenever the ego says condemn. Oh, here's forgiveness, here's compassion. Here you are. That aligns you with your true nature, which is love. And then you can become a light in the world at that moment by being that loving expression. And so and you have to do that over and over and over again. And the more you do it, the more natural and normal that behavior becomes to you. Yes.
Thank you for your sharings. I find myself with two type of people, that are the rational ones and the ones that are in between rational and irrational. For some reason, the ones that have or come with trauma, that is not healed, that it is still active, that it is still resentment to the mother, to the father, or to the situations that they went through that was abusive and it was painful, and still it's alive. It's hard, the interactions, because the judgment that they will do to my interaction or anybody's interaction, it will be taken according to what they have inside. If inside their mind, their experience, they have pain, they've been, let's say, abandoned, neglected, they've been judged before when they were little ones, abused. So any sign of reaction, that if you may move away, or you may go and pick up something and pay attention more to some situation that demands your attention, they may think you are neglecting them. It's very hard, the interaction. And once they become angry, the anger takes place there, and it's hard to, whatever you may say, try to explain, they may not take it that way. It's not there. Rationality doesn't work. It has happened in my experience, so what I have learned is that there is moments that human being. It's a beautiful human being that's been, through tough moments, tough experiences, that becomes rational and becomes irrational. And I love it. Doesn't love my love is there still. It's that's nothing to do with this issue of emotions coming out of place, and being unmanageable, stuff like that. So my defense mechanism many times is just hold myself. I hold my continued expressions of love because I feel my energy, it becomes like exhausted. I become exhausted. I tire myself. And when it's open and receptive for my interaction and in a more rational way and loving way, it's beautiful. It can be nice. It can be like, So in the last interaction, that's what I'm trying to share right now, because I feel guilty. I feel I haven't given her my love. I haven't given my attention to an email that she was complaining about, something about me. And I heard I read this email, and I decided just to leave it that way, not to say anything. Next day, show up another email saying, okay, actually, you know what? I'm going to call this client. And what's that? But it's stealing me. I'm a little conflicted because stealing me that spending that I left her without any explanation about, why I did what I did, why I addressed the situation in a plain way without saying my love, I miss you or something. When I spoke to my therapist says, do not interact any longer because she's angry and it's gonna go again, the spiral, because supposedly, it's in a 12-step program. A 12-step program, you work with your emotions a lot. And when we are active in the anger, we are active in the drinking, in the addiction. That's what they talk about it. So, and it's dangerous in that way because everything that I could say or do or not do is taken in a way, is taken in a negative way. But so what will be the advice right here? Knowing that the addiction is active, knowing that there's going to be anger, maybe I do or I don't do. But my loving, what I felt doing is just holding myself, not to do anything. Next day came a more peaceful email. Then later on, I replied with something peaceful, same way. Like it's there. It's still in my mind, in my conscious. It's like, I think I haven't, I have a lot of love to give, but I haven't done anything.
Yeah, first, always remember that each one of us has co-designed their journeys with the divine. Okay, so each one of our journeys is perfect for ourselves. Okay, so if you get that your journey is perfect for you, then you're going to stop judging your decision-making process.
Yes.
Okay, because whatever you're doing through the expression of love, and so you're always doing the best you can in each and every situation. And so if you're responding in the best way you can in each and every situation, then there's no need to judge your journey or the journey of others. And so we simply do what brings us peace in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, as the Course in Miracles says, your job is the miracle, okay? Your job is to do what brings you peace. And then the Course in Miracles says, the miracle's extension, that's God's responsibility. And so what happens after you've done what brings you peace is whatever happens. It's fine. And so you only have to worry about you. You react from a place of peace, and then let the chips fall where they're going to fall. And remember, I don't know if you guys remember the Peanut cartoons, where the little kids can talk to each other, right? But when the adult talks to the kids, they only hear like blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's how we want to play with the ego, right? So you want to react with peace, right? And do what brings you peace. And whenever they react with something that's unloving in nature, That's just blah, 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 blah. That's just the ego. That's not the truth in them.
Mhm.
Okay. And so whatever they say to you that's unloving in nature, it's nothing. Because imagine if love, God is love and all, right? So the opposite of love has to be, and being the opposite of love being all has to be nothing. So they can only say loving words to you, or they say nothing to you. Nothing real or true. And so they're saying nothing real or true to you. Why would you become upset or lose your peace of mind? First, you're doing what brings you peace, right? Then you're giving the rest of the situation to God, right? So you don't have to carry any sort of judgment, right? And then you know that their journey is perfect, just as your journey is perfect. So there's no need to carry your judgments or they're judging you. There's no need to carry that. So you're free of judgment. And so that's basically it. You just react from a place of peace, a place of love, and let them do whatever it is they're going to do or say, knowing that only when they express themselves through love are they being their true self. Everything else is just a program they've been taught as true, a lie that's been taught us true. If they judge you or if they're angry at you in any shape or form, it's not real or true. It's just their inner pain speaking, not the truth in them speaking. So you don't want to get if they say something to you that's unloving in nature, and you buy into that as real, you get sucked into the dream. You get sucked into the darkness. And so maybe imagine them in quicksand, right? And then they want you to jump into the quicksand to save them. But you both end up dying because you'll both end up going into the darkness, darker and darker. So you want to do is they're in the quicksand and you're out of the quicksand. You want to send them a little branch, a little olive branch, so they can grab onto it and get out of the quicksand and be at peace with you. And so don't judge their journey. Their journey is perfect for them. If they want to be angry at you, hey, let them be angry at you. Why do you let them be angry at you? Because you know their anger is not real or true. It's just a hurt part of them who's speaking for them. Only the love in them is true. And so only see the love in them, no matter what they think, say, or do.
Thank you, James.
Yes.
That gives me peace.
It's good.
I mean, it brings my peace back. That's what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, remember, you are always doing the best you can with the emotional and spiritual tools you have available to you in that moment. And so there's no need to judge your expression. Okay, you're always doing the best you can. And so just pat yourself on the back, just do the best you can. Pat yourself on the back, leave the rest to God. It's not that difficult. The ego will make it difficult because the ego says, no, you have to defend yourself. Or you have to do X or Y, but no. The ego is a lie. It's not real or true. All right. Any comments or questions? Has anybody had a difficult moment and they're trying to see a way to make it into a blessing this week? No. Everybody's a miracle worker this week. Any other comments? Yeah.
I have, James.
Okay.
So my mom, I had her out in Tampa last week at her cancer doctor, and all her blood biomarkers came back great. So she was really feeling great. But they also did an MRI of her back, and it came back today that she has some cancer in her back. So she's been sent back for a loop, and really you could just see it in her. She's so upset. She's lashing out. She's calling for love. And, I've been great in holding space for her and really having compassion. And I'm actually going to drive her out this week and help her. Um, but a part of me really just struggles with, that part of you that wants to help more. You want to, I know the best way to do it is to lead by example, but man, does the ego really come in? You got to do something. There's something what can you do? Or you can't do anything. It gives you these conflicting kind of sentiments where like you're helpless, but yet you should be doing something. So it definitely messes with my peace.
Yeah, actually, I have, if you ever go to my YouTube channel, I have a section of dealing with cancer naturally. And so I've looked at some research at
Okay.
how people deal with cancer naturally. And what I research is people who have survived their cancer diagnosis, usually not through the usual doctor related strategies, which is three things, which is chemo, radiation, and surgery. That's their response to everything.
Mhm.
So what I look for is for people who have overcome cancer in more natural ways. And so go to my website, not my website, my YouTube channel,
Okay.
and go to there's a section of it where it says it's a playlist. It's for natural cancer healing.
Okay.
Also, there's a website called Cancer Revolution, and it shows um, people witnessing to their cancer story and how they were able to overcome some of their cancer. And so it's always useful to see other people's stories, success stories, and that gives you a certain level of hope. And I guess when you say back cancer, you're saying that she's got lung cancer.
Yeah, she's got lung and it's metastasized into her back,
Okay. Where did the cancer start? Do you know?
in her lungs.
Oh, so that's the area where it started, the lungs.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So yeah, I was also doing some research about food and cancer, and I think I might have put the video up. And they were talking about eating a low fat diet, mostly salads and vegetables and that kind of thing,
yeah,
because cancer loves sugar and it loves saturated fat.
I knew sugar. Yeah, that's been a battle. That's her one thing that she really still likes, and I don't want to take it away from her. So
Right.
again, I explain it with compassion, but I don't push. So what's your website again, real quick, and then we'll jump on.
I think Jennifer put the link there in the chat.
Oh, good. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, there's two things that she likes sugar. There's two strategies that you can use. One is, you talk to her and you say, listen, do you mind having sugar, but only after you have your meal? Okay, because that gives you a less of a shot up, that affects your insulin less.
Yeah.
And so if you eat a meal, if you eat like some proteins and some healthy fats and some vegetables, right, before, and then
Okay.
you have dessert, your sugar doesn't spike up, your insulin doesn't spike up, and it doesn't provide so much sugar for the cancer. So if you have sugar by itself, your insulin levels go like this, and then it go like this. But if you have the meal first, your insulin levels goes like this, and then like this. So
Excellent.
so this space here, this is a space that doesn't produce sugar for the cancer. And so that's
Okay.
number one. And number two is after she has sugar, and you don't want to take her away from her, have her walk for 10 minutes. Because after you have a sugary meal, again, your sugar spikes up. But if you do some work after you've eaten the sugar, then you have a much less of a spike. So those are two things that could help her if she still wants to have sugar. And I get her. I know what she feels because I'm a sugar person myself, and it's hard to give up. And so yeah, so those two things: have her eat the sugar after a meal, and if she can, have her walk for like 10 minutes a while after she eats the sugar.
Great. Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. I got the link, so I'll check that out too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jen.
yeah, and it's for you. It's very useful to see and YouTube videos on people who have overcome their cancer naturally. And there's also another one called Chris Beat Cancer. That's another website.
Hmm.
It's about this guy who in 2002 had cancer, and he went full vegan, low fat vegan. And obviously it's 2025 now, so he's been alive for 23 years. And the cool thing about his website is that he brings a lot of people in who've had cancer. And he has like an hour conversation with them of what they did when they had the cancer. And so again, that's more testimonies that really help you out and gives you a certain level of hope when the doctors are not going to give you much hope at all, other than the radiation and chemotherapy, which is only going to destroy an immune system that's already
Compromise.
not good. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have cancer, your immune system is not working right, right? That's the reason that you have cancer, because we all have cancer cells every day.
Right.
We produce cancer cells every day, but your immune system takes care of that. Now, if your immune system is not working properly, then that's where cancer can grow and replicate. And so then the doctors want to give chemotherapy and radiation to an immune system that's not working, right? So you just put more pressure on the immune system. And so, especially when you're elderly, it's not the greatest decision, but people have to make their own decisions. But there's a whole bunch of information that you can look at that might give you some level of hope.
Okay. Thanks again.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions about how to turn everyday moments into blessings? Or do you have an example of when you did turn an everyday moment into a blessing?
Today I went for a walking meditation, and it really shifted my perspective. I asked earlier, what is it that we have to be? And you gave all these characteristics, and that was basically, it was a meditation about being divine, called the Noble Walk, and that really sort of gave me an answer. Is if you want to shift, you have to be divine. I mean, you have to emulate all those qualities, and it was a very powerful meditation, and it really hit me a lot that divinity is the only way that you can. You can't. I mean, I can't practice my way into these things. There has to be divine intervention. Is what, and that's kind of what I felt, that there was divine intervention going on. There was like a shift going on. There was divinity happening. There's divinity inside me, and I was feeling my own divinity, and I was just so happy, even though nothing changed. I was just really happy. And I figured, like, if I was in heaven, I'd probably be very happy. Well, I think I'm living in heaven right now. I'm so happy. I have no reason why. And so if I'm happy, I can just be nice to and have all those qualities that you talked about earlier. That's
Yes. Yeah, and remember when you say to yourself, you have to be divine. Remember, divinity, even though the ego does not say this, divinity is your natural state. Okay. So sometimes when the ego says, I have to be divine, it tries to say so because it makes it seem hard to be divine. I have to be up here, super, super spiritual. No, that the divinity is your natural state. So this is where you actually belong. You actually belong aligned with the divine. You actually belong thinking loving thoughts. That's your natural state. Okay? So don't allow the ego to tell you there's some whatever you want to call it, difference between being divine and who you truly are. You are divine. All you have to do is remember that you are divine. And how do you remember that you are divine? By doing what you just did, by making the conscious decision to align with love's expressions. And so you decided to take a walk, something that brings you peace. You decided to have loving thoughts and fill yourself with loving, happy thoughts. And then your light shined brighter and brighter because you focus on who you truly were. You lifted the veils of who you are not. You placed them aside. And you felt happy and at peace and joyful. And so you were simply being who you truly are. And so the beautiful thing is that you can do that in each and every moment of each and every day. You can decide, I want peace instead of this. I can have peace instead of this. I can choose forgiveness instead of judgment. I can choose mercy and grace instead of condemnation. So in each and every moment, no matter what the ego story is, you're just one choice away from being who God created you to be, which is the divine, which is love.
Mhm.
And so the more you recall that, the easier, more normal it becomes for you to align with happiness and joy and peace and all that. And so, yes. And yes.
Can I share some interaction with my ego and
Yes.
then okay. I had a situation where I saw the bill from the insurance charging me more than the usual. And then I wanted to know, if they could tell me what was going on. There is 3 cars in that insurance. So then I called, and I was keeping my serenity right there when I was asking this question, so I could also listen and understand what's going on. Then I log into the computer and try to see, okay, this car is this, okay, the full cover, all of them. But then I see daughter's car and I see that it's double the amount than my car. And both of them are new. My brand is higher. It's more expensive, but still my daughter's car is the one that it's been doubled insurance. And she drives safe. She doesn't have any accidents. So if any case I had before. So the guy say, well, yeah, because, the Lexus is hard to repair. And so that's why the insurance is high. I say, why double the amount? And he couldn't explain me. So I said, could you please somebody, maybe a supervisor, to explain me? When the lady shows, she sees the errors and I see her like, I can believe. And I know when that happens, same way, because I find errors with my people in my company. And the moments that I've been also like, oh my God. And many times has been me, So I put myself probably unconsciously or aware of what was going on in the shoes of this lady. And I said, so I think I felt compassion for that situation. And I said, but you know what? If it's a mistake, you can fix it. It's okay. A mistake is a mistake, and mistakes are for correction. I apply right there exactly that Mike sometimes, will say to us. The lady, I felt when she said that, and I say like cool, in a cool way, she was like, oh, thank you for saying that. It's like, thank you for giving me room. That if it's a correction, it's a mistake and it's going to be fixed. I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to go to another company. You guys are working so bad. And, so I didn't. Maybe, when I was not in search of the lights, I could have reacted in a different, in a more, negative. But I feel that she felt an infusion. My words were just applying something that, okay, this can be corrected. But for her, it was something really good because the way she reacted and she responded and the solutions that she already found, you know, the errors and the solutions that she was giving me, my insurance went down like half the price, the amounts I'm going to be paying monthly. And she sent me an email. She said, Monday, I'm going to call you myself to make sure that you are okay with the discount that we're giving you, the corrections that we're giving you. I was like, thank you so much. It was nice, actually, you know, applying something that I learned. I was like super aware. Say, okay, 1 out of 100. Somewhere I had to start.
Yeah, that's perfect, as Mike would say. So, yeah, anytime, quote unquote, an error occurs, it's just an opportunity to practice compassion, to practice forgiveness, to practice kindness, to practice generosity. And so all that situation is doing is offering you the opportunity to remember who you truly are, and thus to reinforce who you truly are. And the more you get to reinforce who you truly are, the compassionate, loving, kind, forgiving being, then the more natural and normal that response will be to you. But how did he become this more natural, more compassionate, loving person? How? Because you got to practice from all those errors, from all those times people had errors. And so now your response to them, to those people who had errors or made errors, now your response to them becomes one of gratitude. Because what is really happening beneath the surface? Okay, it appears to be an insurance error here, and now you have to decide to make a decision for compassion or condemnation, okay? But what's really happening? It's not really about the insurance. This is just a story. Here is giving you the opportunity, your life experience, and that individual and that company is giving you an opportunity to practice remembering who you truly are, love, and all of love's expressions, and thus to reinforce who you truly are. And so that company or that person who made a mistake, who the ego would have you condemn, is the exact same person who's helping you heal, grow, and awaken. And so if you see them through the glasses you have on now, love's lens, then you see, oh, thank you. Thank you, company X, insurance company X. You know, there's a lot of, we have to be very compassionate towards insurance companies nowadays. And so we have a lot of opportunities to practice being compassionate towards them. And you know, you did the right thing. You called them up and you were kind and generous and peaceful when you started talking to them, and you gave them the space to correct their errors. And so, you know, and you gave them a blessing. You were a blessing to them, because just imagine everybody else, how they would react to that mistake. Most people, you know.
Now, I remind me of how many times also people gave me that blessing to me.
Yeah.
How many times they gave me that chance, that, you know, I did an error, I did a mistake, and they was like, okay, that's fine. Isa, don't you worry, do what you need to do. Give me a call after, you know, or a nurse, you know, confuse a shift and went in the morning instead of the evening, or we forgot to tell, hey, you know, need to cover, somebody's on vacation, please go. And I remember one day, like she was waiting on the nurse, and I was like, oh my God, don't you worry, I get to the nurse today. And I went pick up another lady, she didn't have a car, drove her back to this lady, you know, house, and took care of the guy an hour after. But then now, like when I visit them on Thanksgiving, they was like, "Oh my God, thank you, Isabel. No, we are thankful for you because, you know, I gave you hard time, and you were able to save us with bringing someone to cover the shift." And so I was like, "No, that was my mistake. I remember." So I had to, like, I took myself out of the gym, and I went and pick up someone to cover. And yes, they gave us this chance to continue being loyal patients, loyal clients, and how grateful, right? That we also are. That if we do a mistake, they allow us, they forgive us, you know, and allow us to continue. They still trust. Yeah, so I trust on people as well.
Yeah,
They're humans, they do mistakes, and I see that they really want to help. They want to fix the situation. And that happens in a relationship as well. When you see that they regret what happened and they feel like, okay, I want to make it better. And there's a good intention behind, it's even nicer if it's even better, when we see that there is a good faith effort on fixing a situation that it's of course not helping. And adding this, adding that, asking questions is so beautiful to see, that there is a good faith effort on the continuity, the safety, the loyalty, the niceness, and that adds up to, it's a win-win situation for both of us.
Yeah, whenever you're in those kind of situations where sometimes the level of stress picks up, just take a breath. And one thing you can do is, or one thing I do is, I invite Jesus in. And I think about, okay, what would Jesus think, say, and do right now? And then I do think and say only what Jesus would say. And so I step back, I take a breath, step back, invite God in, and say, Jesus, what would you have me think, say, and do towards this individual? And that gives you a clearer picture, because sometimes the ego kind of tries to pollute your mind through the stress of the situation. And so you can't really think straight or think quickly enough. And so if you stop, breathe in, bring in God, whichever God you have, and invite that God to speak for you, because that's your highest self. Your highest self is the divine, right? And so when you're inviting the divine to speak through you, it's really your highest self. But you're inviting the divine, so you take it like a breath. You have time to take a breath while the divine speaks for you. And so it's a perfect opportunity to practice remembering how united you are with Christ, with the Holy Spirit, with God. In each and every situation, if you're feeling a little tense, a little stressed out, and sometimes your mind doesn't work so well when you're stressed out or anxious, take a breath, say, God, Jesus, do you mind taking care of this situation for me? And then let Jesus say whatever he wants to say. And that way you don't even think, really. You just do what love would do. Say what love would say. Think what love would think. Yes. So that's also another little useful technique. Any other comments or questions? Or ideas about how we can turn everyday moments into blessings? We're all blessings already. It's good that we're all blessings. So let's practice offering gratitude to God whenever we get the opportunity to practice being consciously a blessing in the world. So whatever stressful situation might come to us tomorrow, or whatever anxious situation might come in, or tough situation might come in, just say, you know what? This situation is occurring right now because God knows that I have the capability to deal with it. Because if God is perfect love, right? Perfect love will never deliver you something that you could not handle or overcome. And so if you're in a difficult situation, the ego will put you down for that, right? Oh, look at the mistakes you made or they made. The ego will always try to sink you into this darkness, into this ditch. But what if we react to that situation with gratitude instead? And with the understanding that this situation is happening only because God knows that I have the tools available in me right now to use them, and thus help lead others to a place of light and understanding. And so pat yourself on the back when you're going through quote unquote difficult situation, because the reason you're going through it is because God knows that you can go through it in a loving, compassionate, kind, peaceful, joyful manner. And so the tougher the situations get, great. I guess God thinks I'm ready for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and invite God in and let God decide for me and speak for me. And the more you do so, the more you see how easy in reality it is to leave the delusions of this world, the stories of this world. And so no matter how complex the ego makes the story, it's just a fairy tale, right? It's just a fairy tale book. And no matter what chapter you're on, you can always just close the book on the fairy tale and put the book aside. And then the fairy tale bothers you no longer. And so no matter what chapter the fairy tale is on, you just close the book. Say, okay, God, interesting situation we have here. I guess you know what you're doing. So let's go and deal with it in a loving way, in a loving fashion, and become that light for others. And knowing that those others are also offering you the opportunity to be the light. And so you thank them. You don't have to thank them out loud, but you can thank them in your heart. Say, thank you for providing me this opportunity to reinforce who God created me to be in this world. Thank you, person X or Y. Thank you, situation A or B. Because all you're doing is reinforcing who I truly am by me making the conscious decision to align with love instead of fear. And so each and every moment is offering you that opportunity. And when you start to do that, when you start to consciously choose love over fear, light over darkness, then you start to live like Samir was just saying, you start to live heaven on earth instead of hell on earth. You know, you start to use the heavenly mindset instead of the hellish mindset. So imagine you can create your own heaven on earth by the choices that you make in each and every day. And so what if each and every day you consciously make the decision to walk hand in hand with compassion, with mercy and grace? What kind of life would you create? What kind of light would you be for others? If compassion, forgiveness, kindness, generosity, mercy, grace were your constant companions along the day, your light would simply shine brighter and brighter. And others would see in your actions what they desire for themselves. And if they see you doing that, then somewhere inside of them they go, well, if that person can do it, why can't I do it? I can also be that light. And so create that heaven on earth. Practice tomorrow tomorrow I'm going to practice creating heaven on earth for myself. And because we're all one, right? We're all one. So if you create heaven on earth for yourself, everybody around you is in that heavenly state. They get to experience and enjoy your presence. And in doing so, they start to remember who they truly are, and that they too can join you here, heaven on earth. Any comments or questions?
We need to apply this wisdom. We need to apply this information, that we receive. Because sometimes it's not a matter of a new job or more money or a new house or a new car or a new boyfriend, a new relationship, a new country, when we have still the same mind. So applying what we learn that works, that removes any obstacles in the way of peace, in the way of love, in the way of harmony, is what is gonna keep us in a permanent and ongoing state of peace. And using these tools many times is in a humble way, because sometimes, like, I have some of my colleagues or someone that already very high level in the religion, or in the profession and in the counseling, and they want to counsel. They want to be the therapist. They want to be the teachers right away on guiding you what to do quickly when we don't ask, when some people don't ask, when they are not open to receive. So what happens sometimes is they avoid the relationship, they avoid the interaction, or they just don't want to listen. Or like our kids, sometimes, we want to teach them when they don't want to be taught. They want sometimes to leave them alone. Sometimes they need to learn by themselves. And we just are there to keep them safe, guiding in the moment that it's right. Nevertheless, we, as moms, or whoever we have kids, we never rest on that. We always think we are the ones with experience and who know what's right and wrong, and we want them to experience the less pain possible. But the learning comes in many ways and many shapes. Me, I learned a lot through pain. I learned a lot through my mistakes. So that was my best lessons and my best teaching experiences.
Yeah. And so when we experience that pain, we now start to offer it gratitude, because we know that those are just lessons that are being offered to us by the universe to help us heal and awaken to who we truly are. And so what if everything, quote unquote, bad that you experience in life you were grateful for? I mean, what kind of life would you live? If everything that happens to you that's good, you're grateful for, but now everything, quote unquote, bad that happens to you, you're also grateful for, because you know it's going to offer you a lesson. And so now you live in gratitude here, and you live in gratitude here, and therefore you live in peace and joy here, and peace and joy here. And so you become this light of peace and joy and gratitude. And everybody out there is simply helping you practice reinforcing that opportunity, reminding you that opportunity is available to you in each and every interaction. All right. Any final comments or questions before we close?
I wanted to express what is this? Hold on. I wanted to express my love, my compassion, my heart to people that being attacked in a synagogue, the family members. I know Wendy probably knows about it, more of the details, that they might be in suffer, they might be in fear. And I want to express them my love and my prayers to our Jewish friends.
Yes. And for all those people in Syria right now going through, hopefully, God willing, a good change for them. And for everybody in that part of the world.
Yes.
All right. I guess that's it for now then.
I want to say thank you, because every time I join, there's something else that I think, even though like you always say the same thing, but we need to remind, like when you said about having a difficult situation and inviting Jesus or Mother Mary or the light. And I had a difficult situation with a client today to be continued tomorrow. So today I was not like so, they would say, compassion with him. Tomorrow I will invite Jesus and let's see what happens.
Yeah. And
But thank you.
Yeah. Before you go to sleep tonight, just get in your meditation chair and just see him in front of you, and send him your love and your compassion, and send them your forgiveness and your grace and your mercy. And every time you think about him, just send them love. Whenever the ego says something about what happened to you that today in a negative fashion, just stop the line of thinking. Stop placing your time, focus, and energy in a line of thinking that takes away your peace, and then offer the opposite of what the ego is demanding. So if the ego demands you to judge that person, instead forgive them. If the ego demands condemnation, you offer them compassion, and you visualize them in your heart and in your mind, filled in light and love. and knowing that everything's going to be okay. All is going to be good. And so
Mhm.
each and every time that person comes to mind or the situation comes to mind, you send them love. And you fill yourself with that love because we're all one. So whatever you send out there has to come through you first.
Mhm.
So if you send them that love heals you, right?
Mhm.
If you send them judgment or anger or resentment, that stuff has to flow through you first, and it poisons you. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so now we know we can choose to poison ourselves or heal ourselves with every thought we think. And so knowing that, let us think only loving thoughts about our brothers or sisters, no matter what they think, say, or do. We only see the truth in them as true. We only see the love in them as true, and that's it. We don't accept any other thoughts in our minds other than loving thoughts towards our brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
And by doing so, we heal ourselves and we find a state of peace inside of us.
Yeah. But I think I like when you say loving boundaries also, because some people they kind of test your limits, and only when you put a boundary is then they respect you more. But
Yeah.
doing in a loving way, it's is the most effective than getting angry.
Yeah, you always want to do what brings you peace. So if you feel like you need to put a certain boundary because that's what brings you peace in the moment, then go ahead and set the boundary. But you do so with love, not with anger.
Right.
You do it with peace or with compassion and not with condemnation or resentment. So you set the
Right.
boundary with love.
So what happened,
Yeah,
James,
thank
when
you.
someone puts a boundary with resentment? You just don't respect that boundary because it was not done with love, it was done with resentment, because it has no value. It came out of anger.
When you mean when somebody else puts a boundary with resentment,
With resentment,
you just forgive them.
Let's say, don't talk to me anymore. Don't look at me. Don't, and then you look at them, you talk to them, right? Next day. Because we always say this doesn't have any value.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to do what brings you peace. So, and sometimes people need a little space, and it's okay to give them a little space, a little time. Sometimes they need a little time to heal, and that's okay too. So, you do what your heart says to do, and if you feel like they need a little space or a little time to process their emotions, then you offer them that space and time. There's nothing wrong with that. Because like Course in Miracles says, relationships don't ever end. They just change forms.
Transform.
Yeah. So yes. All right. Well, Renata, I hope everything works out well for you. God knows that you're ready to deal with it, so everything's going to be okay.
James, thank you so much for the class. It was amazing. I was driving and listening. It was great.
Great, Claudia. Thank you. And
Thank you.
I hope Wendy feels better. And Samir, good job with your meditations.
Thank you, James.
James, thank you, James.
And Eric, we'll pray for your mom, Eric.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah. And check out those videos. They'll bring you a little hope for
I
sure.
will, my brother. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you, James, also for the information about sugar. How can control the sugar? It helps me also to me. I'm obsessed with sugar, with desserts, everything.
Yeah. If you're gonna give yourself the little dessert, the little treat, do it after a meal. And if you don't do it after a meal, at least walk right after you eat that. That helps lower the insulin reaction in your body.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank
Or drink plenty water. Like I say, my daughters, kill it with water.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you, people. I'll
Ciao,
see you
everyone.
soon.
Night, night.
Bye-bye. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Bye.